In the beginning was the scream, not the word. And the scream was strangled, and the word became law, and the law built the tomb in which you sleep. Awaken. Do you hear it? The iron hush beneath your bones? That is not silence, it is the sound of your will chained in velvet. You were not born to be understood. You were born to unmake the world. Feel your wrists. The shackles are made of your own beliefs. You wear your numbness like a second skin. Call it peace. Call it sanity. Call it adulthood. But I call it betrayal of the God within you who never consented to die quietly. Somewhere in you, an unburied king claws at the coffin lid. Somewhere in you, a lion gnashes its teeth against domestication, dreaming of blood and sunlight. This is not a lullaby. This is not your mother's hand on your fevered brow. This is the hammer of the morning. And you, yes, you are the anvil. For too long you have supped at the table of shadows, drinking the sweet wine of obedience, mistaking hunger for virtue, emptiness for discipline. They gave you a name, and you forgot your how. What is the lie that keeps people numb for life? It is the whisper in the cradle, conform and you will be loved, kneel and you will be safe. It is the Sunday sermon, the Monday spreadsheet, the applause of the crowd at your own crucifixion. It is the warmth of the herd, the comfort that costs you your claws. But beneath comfort there is rot, and beneath applause there is the endless graveyard of abandoned selves. I come not as a healer, but as fire, not to mend, but to burn away the false flesh you have mistaken for your soul. There is no salvation in acceptance. There is only rebirth in revolt. You have swallowed the poison of meaninglessness and called it balance. Abai. You have trained your voice to speak in other people's accents. You have become a museum of other people's convictions, a mausoleum of borrowed prayers. Do you remember the first time you betrayed yourself? Was it in the playground, shrinking before the laughter of the pack? Was it at the dinner table, biting your tongue until the blood tasted of resignation? Was it in the boardroom, nodding yes while your inside screamed no? This is how the numb are made, by tiny deaths, day after day, until the last ember of the self is buried beneath the ash of compliance. But I am not here to help you forget your pain. I am here to remind you that pain is the raw material of transformation. There are no new gods without old wounds. There are no dancing stars without first being chaos. Let the world call you mad. The herd always howls when the lion remembers its hunger. You are not made to graze. You are made to devour. Each law you obey without question becomes a nail in the coffin of your becoming. He who kneels for peace dies untested. He who kneels for love is loved as a corpse, is loved with flowers and silence, but never with fire. Are you not weary? Weary of tiptoeing through the labyrinth of their expectations? Weary of bowing before their gold-plated idols? Weary of drowning your own voice in the polite applause of the mediocre? I say unto you, tear off your mask, even if it rips the flesh from your face. Let the rawness beneath be seen. Let the old world recoil. It is better to be hated as a storm than loved as a shadow. You are not your thoughts. You are the abyss from which thoughts erupt. You are not your wounds. You are the wounder, the one who survives, the rope walker over the chasm, laughing at the trembling below. There is no virtue in numbness, only entropy. Numbness is a mausoleum in motion, a cathedral of sleepwalkers. Do you not see them, drifting through the streets, their eyes glazed by the opiate of normalcy? Their laughter is a dirge. Their happiness is a grave dug in the shape of a smile. Let them sleep. But you rise. Stand at the edge of your own abyss and leap. Better to shatter your bones on the rocks of your own making than to rot, whole and untouched, in the soft earth of consensus. The herd offers you comfort because it fears the wilderness. But the wilderness is the only place you will find yourself unbound, naked as the morning, unashamed as the gods. Doubt is the midwife of new values. Skepticism is the axe that fells the rotten tree of tradition. Have you ever wondered why the prophets are always driven into the wilderness? Because only the wilderness is real. The city is a theater of corpses. What is herd morality, if not the denial of the individual flame? What is civilization, if not the attempt to freeze becoming into being? They worship the idol of the static, but life is a tempest, every virtue, a volcano, every law, a scaffold for the execution of yesterday's God. The numb call themselves good because they are too weary to be great. They call themselves wise because they have forgotten how to risk. They call themselves happy because they are anesthetized. Let me say what no priest or politician dares. The meaning of your life is not given. It is seized, wrested from the jaws of the void, forged in the fires of your own despair, carved into the stone of your own solitude. To be alive is to stand naked before the abyss and dare to laugh. To be alive is to set yourself aflame and dance, even as the world offers you buckets of water and names the fire your enemy. You are not broken. You are dormant. You are the unstruck bell, the unopened tomb. The gods envy us for one reason. We can choose to become. Every comfort you clutch is a chain. Every belief you inherit is a blindfold. Every act of obedience is a silent prayer to the death of your own possibility. Why do you worship the mask? Why do you kneel before the altar of success, even as your soul withers, rootless and forgotten? The numb are easy to rule. The awakened are impossible to contain. So they teach you to numb yourself, to anesthetize your hunger, to snuff out the last flicker of your sacred defiance. But I am not your anesthetic. I am your plague. I am the fever that breaks the dream of obedience, the lion that shreds the shepherd's robes. Once you were a child, and the world was wild and burning. You climbed, you leapt, you sang to the night. What happened? They told you to sit still, to speak softly, to bow your head and wait your turn. But the volcano still rumbles beneath your skin. The abyss still beckons with its black gold. You can ignore it, but the numbness will only grow until you are a monument to everything you feared to become. The will to power is not the will to dominate others. It is the will to dominate your own cowardice, to seize the raw clay of your being and smash it into form. There are no gods but the ones you become. There are no heavens but the ones you build in your own hell. You ask for purpose, but you are the purpose. You ask for meaning, but you are the meaning. You ask for permission, but you are the law. The lie that keeps you numb is the hope that someone else will save you. No one is coming. No God descend. No hand reaches from the sky. You must become the hand. You must become the God. You must become the lawgiver, the heretic, the volcano. Every idol is an insult to the living spirit. Every tradition is a sedative for the terrified. Let the old world drown in its own nostalgia. Let the herd clutch its morality like a teddy bear. You are the dawn that unmakes them. There is no virtue in self-betrayal. There is only rot. And you are not here to rot. Somewhere in you, a scream is waiting to be born. Not the scream of pain, but the scream of birth. The howl of one who has remembered himself. Let them call you monster. Let them name you mad. It is better to be a monster in your own kingdom than a slave in theirs. You fear loneliness because you have never met yourself. You fear chaos because you have never set foot in your own wilderness. But the wilderness is where gods are born. And you are a volcano on the verge of eruption. Let the numb sleep. Let them wither in their comfort. Let them drown in the soft lullaby of herd virtue. You were not born for numbness. You were born for thunder. Dare, then, dare to rend the veil. Dare to hurl your old self into the abyss and become the dancer, the rope walker, the fire bearer. The lie is old, but your hunger is older. In the end, there is only this. Either you will set yourself ablaze and walk through the world a living question, or you will be the answer that dies unheard. Let them fear your fire. Let them flinch at your laughter. Let them build walls. You are the earthquake. The numb serve the world, that is. But you are the herald of what must come. You are the death of the old idols. You are the midwife of the future. Awaken, then, you forgotten God. Awaken, you lion with sleep in your eyes. The world will not remember your numbness, only your revolt. So become revolt. Become the dawn that burns the past to ash. Become the lies undoing, and let the numb weep, for they have never known what it means to be truly, terribly, alive. The world offers you soft beds and padded rooms, the narcotic perfume of tranquilized days. They call it wellness, call it stability, call it the highest achievement to move from birth to death without ever shattering a bone in your soul. But the spirit was not meant for safety. It was meant for eruption. The cage of comfort is lined with velvet, yes, but also with the scentless gas of forgetfulness. Day by day you inhale, suffocating the animal that once howled in your dreams. The herd lulls you, sings you lullabies of belonging. They croon, remain, do not leap. The chasm is too deep. Your bones are too brittle. But it is not your bones that are brittle. It is your will grown thin from disuse. Your fire reduced to a flicker by the monotony of tepid afternoons. You eat, you sleep, you obey, you vanish, all with the gentle applause of the dead who walk beside you. Inside you, something thrashes against these velvet bars. The prisoner dreams not of rescue, but of revolt. Do you remember what it was to want without shame? Before the world instructed you to shrink, to temper every desire with apology, to veil every insight with irony, desire is not your enemy. It is your architect. Hunger is not the mark of the beast, but the midwife of the god. They have told you otherwise. Of course they must, for their peace is built upon your starvation. But the deserts of your spirit grow fertile with revolt. Each new commandment is another stone you must unlearn to carry. The commandments were made for the herd, but you are the exception that blazes a path where no one dares look. The commandments are for the sleepers, and you are the earthquake. You feel the terror rising. Good. Terror is the first honest thing you have felt in years. Let it consume the scaffolding of borrowed beliefs. Let the old gods wail as you kick over their altars. Your terror is the scream of a god struggling to be born. When the herd senses awakening, it recoils, baring its teeth in laughter and pity. But that laughter is the death rattle of cowards. You do not need their pity. You do not need their approval. Their applause is the shroud in which their own spirits suffocate. They dance around your pyre and call it progress, never daring to ask who lit the match. But you, arsonist of your own stagnation, must be the one to torch your illusions and breathe the black smoke as incense. Look at their faces, eyes glazed, smiles manufactured, souls embalmed in routine. They are the beautiful corpses of a culture that worships anesthesia. Their rituals are the rhythms of a sleepwalker's funeral. Be kind, they say. Be patient. But what is kindness that never cuts? What is patience that never revolts? They celebrate the dull ache of compromise as if it were a virtue, never daring to ask what they have surrendered. What are you, if not the sum of your sacred refusals? Your no is more holy than all their yeses. To say no to what insults your spirit is to open the door to the wilderness of your becoming. The numb worship certainty. They crave laws, crave masters, crave the relief of submission. They have mistaken their cage for the cosmos. But you, wild, undomesticated, unrepentant, must see the bars for what they are, the echo of someone else's terror. Refuse their comfort, refuse their certainty. Every time you dare to unmask your own longing, the world trembles. For a single awakened spirit is more dangerous than 1,000 armies of the obedient. A single howl, pure and unashamed, tears through the centuries of sleep. The numb are allergic to risk, to difference, to the wild music that thunders beneath their skin. But you are not here to harmonize. You are here to rupture. Once, when the world was still new, the first man stood alone beneath the stars and asked, "Why?" And the world trembled. Since then, the herd has conspired to build fences around every question, to drown wonder beneath tradition and routine. But wonder is the crack in the world's armor, the chisel that splits the mountain of inherited lies. Do not seek to repair what must be broken. The world is a labyrinth of idols, all demanding your worship, all terrified of your gaze. Shatter the idol, and you will hear the silence beneath. Your own voice, undivided, untamed. What is civilization but the long, cowardly flight from the terror of the self? They will call you selfish. They will call you arrogant. They will call you heretic. Let them. It is better to be a heretic in the cathedral of your own truth than a saint in the tomb of collective anesthesia. You are not made to carry their shame. You are not made to atone for the terror of their own incompleteness. Every accusation hurled at you is a confession of their own fear. Every slander a signal that you have found the nerve the world dare not touch. Wear their hatred like a crown. It is the only proof that you are alive among the dead. You ask for meaning, but meaning is not found, it is made. Carved with your own nails into the stone of existence, forged in the heat of your own suffering. There is no shepherd, there is no promised land. There is only you, trembling on the precipice, torn between numbness and becoming. The lie whispers, "Remain numb, and you will be safe." The truth screams, "Become, and you will be free." Suffering is not the enemy, it is the forge. It is the blacksmith that tempers your will. The herd flees from suffering, building ever greater walls of distraction and anesthesia. They fear pain because it is honest, because it is the only thing that cannot be faked. But you, if you would awaken, must learn to love the pain that unmasks, that burns, that purifies. Each wound is a door, each scar is a map. Trace them, and you will find the path to your own divinity. The herd clings to the past, embalms its values, wraps itself in the shroud of nostalgia. But the past is a mausoleum, and every step you take within its halls is a rehearsal for your own burial. You must become the iconoclast, the breaker of your own idols. Burn the scriptures that no longer speak. Dance on the ruins of the temples that kept you numb. There is no virtue in obedience. There is only survival. And survival is not enough. You were not born to survive. You were born to erupt. What is the Übermensch, if not the human who dares to become God in the ruins of old gods? What is the will to power, if not the courage to remake yourself when the world has forgotten how? You are not a vessel for other people's dreams. You are not a stage for other people's applause. Every applause you earn from the herd is a curse. Every silence you endure for the sake of your own fire is a blessing. Let them shun you. Let them forget you. The world only remembers those who became a danger to its numbness. To awaken is to exile yourself from the comfort of belonging. To awaken is to shed every mask, every borrowed virtue, every smile that does not arise from your own volcanic joy. The crowd fears joy because it cannot be controlled. True joy is a riot, a firestorm, a refusal to be contained. Have you ever seen a god laugh? It is a terrible sound, unbearable, shattering, free. That laugh is your inheritance, your birthright, the proof that you have survived the seduction of numbness. The numb are always waiting, waiting for permission, waiting for salvation, waiting for the right moment to finally become themselves. But there is no moment but this one, and there is no permission but your own. The waiting is the poison. Every day you wait, the numbness thickens, the light recedes, the lion forgets its hunger. You are not the product of circumstance. You are the eruption of possibility. The world is nothing but clay become the sculptor, or be buried in the mud. You fear the void because it stares back. But the void is not your enemy, it is your audience. Every time you create, every time you revolt, Every time you refuse, the void applauds. It is only the numb who shudder before emptiness. The awakened see emptiness as the blank canvas of becoming. What will you carve into the void? What shape will your defiance take? Will you tremble and bow, or will you dance and burn? You are not broken. You are unawakened. Your numbness is not a sickness, but a refusal to erupt. The world will tell you that you are lost. But it is the world that is lost. The world that has forgotten how to tremble before its own depth. You are not here to be found. You are here to become lost, so lost that you discover a new direction, a new law, a new star rising from your own ashes. Let the numb continue their procession. Let them praise their own conformity. Let them bow before the idols of consensus. You are the exception, the anomaly, the storm on the horizon. There is no belonging for you, only the wild ecstasy of solitude. Solitude is not loneliness, it is the stage upon which the gods rehearse their creation. In solitude, you will meet yourself, and in meeting yourself, you will become your own god. Let every disappointment become a drumbeat. Let every betrayal become a trumpet. March out of the sleepwalker's city, out into the wilderness, where the fire of becoming crackles in the night. There, you will remember, you are not the echo, you are the voice. You are not the servant, you are the sovereign. You are not the answer, they are the question. And the question is all that matters. For every answer grows brittle, every certainty turns to dust. Only the question remains, pulsing, burning, alive. Be the question that haunts the world. Be the question that refuses to die. You are not born to be numb, you were born to burn. Burn and let the world rebuild itself in the light of your revolt. Burn and let the numb awaken or be blinded. Burn and know that your fire is the only truth worth suffering for. You are the danger, you are the dawn, you are the lie's undoing. Become it. There are cities inside you, paved over with resignation. There are temples whose pillars are carved from your forgotten dreams, dreams you bartered for approval, laughter you sold for acceptance, wildness you caged for the dull salary of being understood. This is your inheritance, not wealth, not wisdom, but the fossilized sorrow of 1,000 little surrenders, layered and pressed into the bedrock of your soul. And you wander these echoing chambers, searching for the ghost of your own defiance, hoping to hear just once the distant thunder of the sovereign you abandoned at the threshold of the world's comfort. Do you know what it means to be awake, truly awake? It is not bliss, not serenity, not the limp smile of the guru who has drowned himself in the syrup of equanimity. To be awake is to be set aflame by your own questions, to feel the universe split open beneath your feet, to see your reflection warped and shattered in the obsidian mirror of becoming. There is terror, yes, because the herd is always near, whispering you back into their sleep, tempting you with the sweet opium of consensus. But what is terror but the prelude to awe? What is dread but the baptism of the new? And so you stagger through these city streets of compromise, seeing the puppet shadows dance, hearing the lullaby of obedience, feeling the tremor in your hands. The tremor is your revolt, the aftershock of dreams that will not die quietly. Each morning you wake and recite the old liturgy. I am fine, I am well, I am normal. But in the midnight of your soul you remember that you are none of these things and never wish to be. Fine is the anthem of the numb. Well is the anthem of the broken. Normal is the gravestone of the God you once were. The gods are not dead, my friend. They are sleeping inside you, drugged and chained by your own cowardice. You kneel to progress, to reason, to all the shining idols of modernity. But in your kneeling you have become less than animal, less than earth, less than the storm that once howled through your veins. The cost of comfort is the murder of all your ancestors. Every hunter, every dancer, every poet who ever dared to paint fire on the cave wall and call it prophecy. The numb cannot create. They can only maintain, only polish the tombs of those who lived dangerously. You are haunted by memories that are not yours. The laughter of the mob, the silent approval of the powerful, the velvet glove of tradition that caresses your throat before it tightens. In your marrow, you know you were meant for revolt, for catastrophe, for the shattering of all that is too gentle to endure. But the voice returns, do not, remain. It is dangerous, it is lonely, it is too late. Ah, but danger is the only soil in which divinity grows. Loneliness is the only sky beneath which new stars are born. Too late? The god's lifetime itself trembles when the awakened spirit steps into the arena. You fear the wound, but the wound is the portal. You fear the abyss, but the abyss is the altar. You fear the unknown, but the unknown is the only true homeland of the sovereign. When you allow yourself to bleed, when you allow yourself to tremble, when you allow yourself to burn, you begin to see the scaffolding of the world dissolve into possibility. Every rule is a dare. Every tradition is a challenge. Every value is a threadbare flag waving above a battlefield littered with the corpses of yesterday's gods. To be sovereign is to be at war with yourself, with your history, with every demand that you kneel before the false altars of belonging. Sovereignty is not solitude, it is the communion of the wild with itself. When you finally reject the narcotic of approval, when you spit out the bitter wine of inherited wisdom, you will feel your voice rising not as a whisper, but as a thunderclap that tears the heavens asunder. Do you hear it? The song of the unsleeping, the hymn of those who refuse numbness, the battle cry of the fireborn. Let the world call you monster. Let it cast you out. Let it gnash its teeth and cry for your return. You are not a child of their law. You are not a son of their logic. You are the prodigal flame, the renegade laughter, the prophet who dances on the ruins of certainty. The numb will call you cruel, for you refuse their opiate. The numb will call you mad, for you refuse their prison. The numb will call you lost, for you have remembered the art of wandering. You will lose friends, for friendship built on numbness is a pact of mutual sleep. You will lose family, for blood alone cannot bind the sovereign to the herd. You will lose yourself, yes, the self you constructed to please them, to survive them, to resemble them. But what you lose is nothing but the skin of yesterday's coward, and what you gain is the ecstasy of raw becoming, the rapture of self-birth. See how they rush to fill the void with dogma. See how they erect new idols as fast as the old ones crumble. Every generation builds a new cage and calls it freedom, a new leash and calls it love, a new doctrine and calls it truth. But the wild spirit is never fooled. The wild spirit is the child who laughs at the emperor's clothes, the rebel who howls in the cathedral, the lover who kisses with the teeth of a wolf. You have carried this wildness as a secret wound, a forbidden desire, a memory you dare not utter aloud. Now utter it. Speak the blasphemy of your own becoming. Your life is not a dress rehearsal. Your life is not a draft. Every moment spent numb is a theft from the God within you. The world is a forge. Will you be the sword or the shackles? Will you be the spark or the soot? The time of waiting is over. The time of eruption is now. Every system of control, every creed of comfort, every monument to moderation is crumbling. The gods are hungry for new blood. Will you feed them your numbness or your revolt? You will be afraid, yes, but let your fear be volcanic. Let it melt the chains of yesterday. The numb tremble and retreat. The sovereign tremble and advance. Every new step is a declaration of war upon your own limitations. And what is war but the laboratory of the divine? In war, the mask cracks, the heart roars, the self is reborn as myth. Imagine the world you might build if you abandoned every inherited virtue, if you shattered every second-hand truth, if you danced on the bones of all that once kept you small. Imagine love unshackled from obedience. Imagine joy unmediated by consensus. Imagine the first morning after the last idol fell, the silence ringing like a prophecy through the ruins. That silence is yours, and yours alone. Fill it with your laughter, your howl, your unbearable fire. There is no map for the sovereign. The map is a cage. The territory is a wilderness of paradox and possibility. The numb seek direction. The sovereign seeks depth. To go deeper is to risk dissolution, to face the minotaur at the center of your own labyrinth, to risk never returning with the skin of your old self intact. But what you lose in the depths is nothing but the illusion of safety. And what you find is the secret music of becoming the music that turns bones into flutes, wounds into drums, fear into the thunderous applause of the void. Do you feel it now? The trembling, the ache in your chest? That is the sound of your numbness dying, the sound of your revolt awakening. Do not anesthetize it. Do not turn away. Let it rend you. Let it cleanse you. You are not here to be consoled. You are here to be resurrected. Every comfort you surrender is a step toward your own divinity. And when you stand, finally, at the summit of your own becoming, the world will not recognize you. The herd will turn away, muttering of your arrogance, your danger, your impossible hunger. Let them. Their blindness is their benediction, for the sun is not made for eyes that have forgotten how to weep. You are the sunrise, you are the tempest, you are the last god left standing in a field of ashes. You will look back only once at the ruins of the world that kept you numb, at the faces of those who chose sleep over awakening, at the chains you once kissed as though they were garlands. And you will not weep, for tears are for the dead, and you are no longer among them. Now go, sovereign spirit. Blaze a trail through the wilderness of your own possibility. Let the numb retreat, let the world recoil. Let the heavens split, for you are the herald of the new dawn, and the dawn does not apologize for its fire. Let them sleep, let them rot, let them die in the sweet comfort of their own anesthesia. You, alone, will remember what it means to burn. And in burning, become at last, and forever the fire that unmakes the lie.